Hey everyone, it's Michelle, the Dreaming Dilettante, coming out to you with a new art journaling video. And if you watched my video on Monday, we made these DIY collage pages. And if you haven't watched it, it's okay, I'll link it in the description box below if you want to check it out. But today I wanted to show you how to use these in your art journal. So I have my warm-up journal here. This is a handmade journal that I made. And I thought this would be a great one just to kind of have a play in and start. We've worked in here together before, so I've done some other videos of just like quick process things and stuff like that. But it's still a fairly new journal. I've only have a few completed spreads in here. And I just thought it would be fun to kind of get started, do a little more practice on breaking the blank page. So I'm going to start with a blank page. Now my pages are pink because I dyed them. It's just regular copy paper that I dyed. And I forget if these were, or I don't know if these were used with the RIT dye or I did some with Kool-Aid. And if that's something you'd like me to show you how to do, just put a comment down below and I'll be happy to try to get a video for you to do that. But it's a really simple process. But either way, it's just a plain page here. And you can start off a lot of different ways, but I think what I'm going to do is just go through my pile of pages here and grab out 2 or 3 that feel like the colors or the designs that maybe I feel like working with right now. So there's really no magic answer here. I'm just grabbing colors that are jumping out at me right now. Okay, I'm grabbing way more than 2 or 3, but that's okay. All right, so I'm feeling like the warmer colors it looks. Well, and I have some greens and blues there, so we'll see. So basically, there's lots of different ways that you can work with these. There's countless ways that you can work with these. But one of the things that I like to do when I have a blank page is I start with my favorite technique, which is collage. So that is what I'm going to do here. And I have a little Mod Podge here. And I just need a brush. So, and you could use a card spread your Mod Podge. If you don't have Mod Podge, one of my favorite, I'm using it because I have it. I like to use glue that's diluted with water. That's another collage medium I like. If you're using Mod Podge, you want to use something that's matte because your journal pages can stick together if you're using anything that's glossy. Unless you seal them, then it might protect that. But so what I'm going to do is I am just going to start ripping out some pages. Now, you don't have to rip, of course. You can choose to cut them if you wanted. You could use a hole punch, which I might use, or a decorative punch. You could do that. So there's just lots of things you can do, and you can rip in different directions. So if you rip that way, you have more of a color. This way you can tend to get some white. So it's just different things to have a little play with. I think I'm going to go with this one. Oh, that one ripped funny. I'm intentionally being careless because at this stage I don't really want to think about, this is play. This is not me having a clear vision for something that I want to create like I would on a canvas or something like that. I'm just breaking my blank page and having some fun. So I'm going to take this little pile of collage, and what do I have? Yeah, I have 3 different pages, so that's great. I'm going to set that to one side, and then I'm just going to grab my brush, dip it, oh, my Mod Podge is dry, and I'm going to dip it in the Mod Podge. And you can use a glue stick if you don't have a Mod Podge or wet glue. You can absolutely use a glue stick. Glue sticks don't tend to be overly permanent, so you might want to end up sealing your pages because they can come off. I like to use the Scotch Create glue stick because it is permanent and I've never had any problems with it. It's my favorite one. Now, one of the things to keep in mind if you are using a wet glue to attach this, anything that you put on these collage pages that is reactive to water, so if you used watercolors, or any like water-soluble crayons or anything like that, they're going to react, or they could, with the wet medium. So just keep that in mind. It's not a problem for me, but if you're, trying to maybe have a little bit more control over the page and what's going to happen, that might be something that you'll want to keep in mind. I'm not trying to have, and at this stage, especially if you're new to art journaling or new to your creative practice, I would encourage you not to try to have a whole lot of control if you can. It's a nice way to let go, learn how your materials react together. If you're new with, especially if you've used some materials that maybe you haven't played with much, it's a great way to kind of see what's going to happen, when you lay them down and mix them up. And I just find a lot of times one of my favorite ways to create in my art journal, or when I'm doing collage, is just to see what happens, just to lay things down completely randomly, just because that looks like a fun spot to lay something down, and then see what shapes develop, see where I'm called next. And a lot of times I've been making videos and I'm looking at what I'm creating and I'm thinking, I have no idea where this is going to go. And sometimes they turn into my incomplete pages, which I have a series on here with a few videos about that. But sometimes I end up making pages that I absolutely adore and that are some of my favorites. So it's fun to just let it progress, see where it takes you and what ends up coming. So you can see here that some of that is starting to run onto the page. But because this is just an initial layer, I'm completely fine with that. I'm not trying to preserve, this imagery in as perfect or anything like that. So I'm just going to keep, putting down some layers here. And again, you don't need to think too much about it. You can just have a little fun and start your page.
I've been working all day, working for my wage. I've been trying so hard to get over the line, but I need to get my pay. I wish there was another way. Well, I would love to be free, another version of me. Oh, won't you take me away? I just wanna go away. Oh, won't you take me away? I just wanna go away. I really need.
Okay, so I feel like that's a great first layer that I'm going to kind of stop there with what I'm doing. And then I'm going to take some gesso, just some white gesso that I have. And I'm going to add a layer over top of this. So I haven't really waited for the Mod Podge to dry, but I'm going to take a card and some gesso and just try to lightly, maybe it's not going to be too light, but just to go over the images. And I'm going to have a little cleanup here on some, because I want some of them to come through. But again, these aren't our focal point. This isn't the main thing that we're trying to accomplish with the page. It just gives us some background imagery, some interest, some texture. So we don't have to worry too much at this point. So if you're looking at your page at this point and thinking it looks just like a mess and you have no idea where you're going to go with it, that's okay. And you can skip this part. Of course, you don't have to. It's all of it's optional. I'm finding scraping it with the card works really well there if I want to keep some of it showing. So of course this is all optional, but the gesso you don't have to add. And if you notice, my gesso is getting a bit of a yellow tint, so I'm going to carry some of that over here because it's reacting with this piece that I have. There. I'm just going to add a little bit to this side because I like to work on double-page spreads. So just to keep it, to carry that through to this side as well. Okay, and then you can wait for this to dry, or if you're impatient like me, you can use your dryer if you have one. I have a heat tool that I use. So I'm going to set this aside, and I just had the idea to draw, or at least try to draw, an image. I try to draw an image to attach to my journal. Now I've been practicing drawing some faces and some women. So having a couple different things that I was trying out here. I got this notebook as a gift at Christmas time. So I was really using, at the time I was limiting myself. I had gotten these pencils, so they're water soluble. So I had some things that were running off and stuff like that, but I was challenging myself just to use that in this journal. So I just have these, I think it's just those 3. Oh no, I have this one too. And I like this one. This was the one that I was thinking about using, although I like that one too. To just have, and that one I was really happy with. So I think I might work with this one just as my inspiration. So I'm going to set that up. And let's see what I want to sketch with. I think I'm going to use a light, this light brown. Now these are water soluble too, which you don't have to use. Oh, this one's too big. You don't have to use water soluble, obviously. I like the water soluble because I find that you can erase your pencil marks with the watercolors if you want to. So I'm just going to have a little fun. This is a piece of paper that was just laying around on my desk. I am not going for perfection, and it's honestly, it's been a while since I've drawn one of the faces. I was doing these a lot in December when I first got it, and I've done a lot less since. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
I've been working all day, working for my wage. I've been trying so hard to get over the line, but I need to get my pay. I wish there was another way. Well, I would love to be free, another version of me. Oh, won't you take me away? I just wanna go away. Oh, won't you take me away? I just wanna go away. I really need to catch a break before it is too late. I've been cut down to the bone, been at it all alone. They say you can't get free. Oh, who do you think you're trying to be? Well, I won't listen to their words, 'cause I'll be flying with the birds. Won't you take me away? I just wanna go away. Won't you take me away? I just wanna go away. Won't you take me away? I just wanna go away. Won't you take me away? I just wanna go away. Just give me one try. Just give me one chance. Give me one try. Just give me one chance. Won't you take me away? I just wanna go away. Won't you take me away? I just wanna go away. Won't you take me away? I just wanna go away. Won't you take me away? I just wanna go away.
Okay, so there's my lady. I think I'm really happy with how she came out. You may have noticed I got, I must have had some wet spots here from my surface from when I was working on before, and so I got a little blue here. So I just raised up the neckline and colored it in and decided to do her shirt in blue. Now, I had thought about activating the watercolor pencils to make it a little more smooth, but I kind of like this rough, sketchy look of her. So I'm going to use her in our journal page. Now, I did want to say, if you're not into drawing a character, or you don't want to, or maybe you're not feeling confident in your drawing skills, well, if you're not feeling confident, I would definitely encourage you to give it a try, because I am learning here too, and this is not perfect in any stretch of the imagination, but over time, when you practice a little bit, you can definitely make things that you're happy with. So that's something that we can all do. It's just muscle memory. So I would encourage you to try it if you're just not feeling confident. But if you don't want to do that, you can absolutely get magazines and things like that to cut out an image that you can add as a focal point for your art journal page, or you could use words or script or anything like that. So don't let any of that stop you. You could use your own photos. So don't be discouraged. But I would love for you to try. And if you do, please let me know. I'd love to see what you came up with. So my page here is pretty much dry. I used the heat tool on it, but some of it is still a little wet. But I think that'll be fine. So she, of course, I didn't pay any attention when I was sketching her to size. So I think I'm going to cut her out and then just let her spread over the pages. Just looking for my scissors. And this is a time where, you know, I can kind of trim back the hair if I want. You could leave a border around her if you wanted. You could draw her right into your art journal page. I was, in complete honesty, thinking I wasn't going to be happy and I was going to end up doing something different. So that's why I wanted to draw her on another page. But I think it's going to actually give a fun look too. Okay. So I think, actually, I might want her to hang over just a bit. And yeah, I think that's going to be how I want it to go. So I'm going to use my glue stick for this because I don't want to activate that watercolor. And I'm going to do that on here because obviously my desk is messy and I don't want to get paint on her. I have a couple projects that or two other projects I'm working on at the same time. So as one thing's drying, I'm going back to another project. So that's something that I love to do. It gives me a chance to try out different things. And I find that I'm happier with the results because I'm not being, sometimes I'm not being as particular about how everything's coming out because I'm moving from one thing to another. but that's just me and that. All right, so there is my main focal point, and I went a little too far with the glue. So I just don't want that to stick down to the previous page, but that's okay. So she is stuck down nicely, and as I said, this is a permanent glue stick. I get these, and I'm really happy with them. They last quite a while. So now I think I'm going to want to start adding some background, and I think I'm going to use some textured brushes that I have. Like I have these brushes. I got these at the Dollar Tree. And so I know her shirt's blue and everything else is like a red and a green. I think I might start off with this light green and see. Now I'm just using acrylic craft paints. These are not expensive paints by any means. And I'm going to use the textured brush to just kind of give some dappled textured look here. Because I don't want this to be, you know, a perfectly covered page. I want some of these textured elements to come through. I just want it to feel like it's all one, it's all part of the background, if that makes any sense. Now you can protect your pages with another piece behind it. I almost never remember to do that until, well, now. So I tend to, it goes on to my other pages, but it doesn't bother me. I use this journal as what I call my warm-up journal. So when I first get to the studio, especially if I'm not sure what I want to do, what I want to create, I just come here and I just start kind of playing. So yeah, I don't use this as any kind of, you know, I mean, I shouldn't say it's not special. I was thinking, was it a special journal? But it is. They all are. But it's more like my, you know, I've given myself permission, which I think we should do with all our journals, but I've given myself permission to not make great pages, to not finish pages, to, I use it as, if I'm cleaning off a brush. I've had it when I was making the collage pages. I just had it sitting next to me and I would wipe my brush off on pages in it. So you might have seen when I was flipping through pages that have that. So it's just, it's kind of, I like my journals to be a free space for me to kind of create and have fun in. So I'm feeling like I want a heart here. I love adding hearts. I add hearts to a lot of my stuff. And I think I'm going to use, I have those different pages that I had pulled out. And I think I might use, let's see, green. How many of you wanted me to use the orange? I find that when I watch videos, but then usually when I watch a video, I always say, ah, they picked the right one. Because I'm thinking, oh no, you should leave that, or you should add this, and usually what they come up with is much better. But I don't know if that'll be the case here. So tell me which one you'd like. All right, so I cut out a little heart there. And I think I want to add herb. I feel like I want some book page behind that. So I have just some old books that I pick up from a used bookstore. We were actually very fortunate that the house that we bought years and years and years ago had a lot of old books in the attic. Nothing of, you know, any kind of value, but they're really cool to use for art journaling and things like that. So you can use book pages for this kind of, just like collage pages. Unless you really don't like the idea of taking books apart, and I can completely understand that, then you shouldn't do that. But garage sales and things like that are great places to find. And if you have a used bookstore in your area or a thrift shop or something like that, you can often find some neat books to use, some older books. Encyclopedias are great too, if you can find those at a thrift store. Again, assuming you're okay with the idea of. So I'm just going to Mod Podge this down. And again, I'm trying to think that the heart's going to cover up most of it. This is a dictionary, which I like to use because you can cut out the words and things like that. So I actually might do that for this too. But I'm just applying it where I'm thinking the heart, won't be as much as I can. I think, yeah, maybe there. I just might find a definition in this book to add to the center of the heart, to kind of tear out and put in the center. I think that would look really cool. So this page was not something that I planned out. It's just as I'm working from one thing to the next, I'm thinking, I do something and then I was like, oh, this might look neat, and oh, maybe I'll add this. And I find that if I try to plan it out too much, I can get stuck on it not working, and then that kind of cuts off my creative flow. So if you have specific ideas in mind, maybe a warm-up journal is a great place for you to start, because you can just have a play and then kind of call in that creative energy that before you know it, when you're getting ready to work on your project that you have a clear vision for, you've managed to call in some of that energy in a place where you were able to just play and try out materials. I was doing sketches in the one because I have an idea for a painting that I'd like to do, but I'm still practicing the drawing and things like that I want to do. So I was using my journal to sketch into that. I'm thinking maybe love might be nice because it's a heart. Yeah, that looks cool. I'm just cutting the page out of the dictionary, and then I think I'm going to try to carefully tear it out. And this is a Webster's dictionary. I'll read you the definition if you're interested. So it says, love, fond and tender attachment as mother love, also passionate devotion, strong liking as love for music, a sweetheart, to have a feeling of deep affection for as I love my sisters, to delight in as to love dancing, love in Roman mythology, Cupid, the god of love, same as Greek Eros. I think that's interesting to add to this page here. So really, I mean, you can, there's like no stopping what you can use your collage pages for. You could add, like this, it's almost a focal point of the page, and then other elements are just kind of faded into the background. So you could even draw onto the backgrounds of the collage pages that you've used and then fill it in with acrylics. There's really so much that you can do with them, and having them on hand for whenever you want to sit down and get creative is great. And I love it because a lot of times I may not know, and that's cool, the paint is reacting a little bit from the collage page and it's adding a little green to the book page. So what I love is that if I really didn't know what I want to do, but I want to be creative, sitting down, gluing some pages onto a journal page, or gluing some collage papers into a journal is just a great way to get started. And I find that almost every time I create something, and it just kind of sparks the imagination. So I hope you enjoyed watching this. Please do let me know if you created alongside me. I'd love to hear what you created, and if you decided to draw a character, I'd love to hear what you draw or what you drew. And if you have any questions or anything like that, please do put them in the comments below, and I'd be happy to try and answer them. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Have a great day. Bye.